Well, the South African government will from tomorrow host its inaugural Green Hydrogen Summit in Cape Town. The summit is set to showcase the country's offering as a large-scale, low-cost, world-class green hydrogen production hub, as described by Infrastructure South Africa. The summit comes on the back of South Africa's adoption of the Just Transition Project. Green hydrogen refers to hydrogen generated by renewable energy or low-carbon power, making it low in carbon emissions. Well, joining us now to tell us more about the summit and what makes the country a large-scale and low-cost green energy investment destination is Masopha Moshoeshoe, who's Director of the Green Economy in the Presidency. Masopha, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us this morning. You know, green hydrogen has been dubbed the fuel of the future, and there's a lot of interest globally in what South Africa, or at least what potential lies in Africa. What's the South African government saying about all of this?
Thank you very much for the opportunity this morning. We see it as a major potential future sector of growth. In our draft country investment strategy, it's identified as one of 5 big frontiers, which are nascent sectors that have an immense opportunity to add to GDP, to address the challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality.
I mean, we have this inaugural summit that is kicking off in Cape Town tomorrow, and South Africa will have an opportunity to showcase itself as an investment destination. I think the important part here is this 2050 sort of timeline that we're looking at. If we are going to be able to make that 6% to 12% contribution to GDP, how important is it for South Africa to get the ball rolling in ensuring that we are able to produce green hydrogen as we call on investors to take a closer look?
I think it's important to keep in mind sort of what the relevance of 2050 is, and it's really around our net zero commitments, not just for South Africa, but for large parts of the world, trying to keep the 1.5 degrees of global warming target within reach. In order to do this, you need to be able to address what are called hard-to-abate sectors. So these are sectors that are difficult to decarbonize through renewable energy and direct electrification. Sectors like aviation, maritime, long-haul trucking, cement production, steel manufacturing, etc. And these are major sources of emissions, and green hydrogen is the leading vector to decarbonize them. Similar with the targets that we need to reach for our Paris commitments and others, a lot has to be done within this decade. So even though 2050 seems like a long way away, we need to achieve something like 55% decarbonization by the end of the decade, which means that green hydrogen then really has to take its place as a vector to decarbonize these hard-to-abate sectors. So what we're expecting to see is that by 2030, throughout the world, there'll be a large number of projects coming into production, starting to produce green hydrogen at scale. And in order for South Africa to sort of take its place as one of these major production hubs, we need to be able to have projects that people can kick, feel, and touch by then, somewhere around 3 to 5 gigawatts. That would need somewhere like 6 to 10 gigawatts of renewable energy. That's more than what we've been able to install as a country for the last 10 years through our renewable energy IPP process. So it's a massive effort that's required, but it's one that we think is achievable. Because also we have some inherent advantages. Sorry about that. So one, we have some of the best renewable energy resources in the world. Similar, well, only surpassed by the Atacama Desert in South America. We're already a large producer of hydrogen, admittedly gray hydrogen, but we have the knowledge and industrial process. We produce something like 2.4 million tons a year. So we're a major producer of this. It's now, how do we transition this and other advantages that we have like our coastline, large amounts of land that's required to produce the renewable energy, and take advantage of this for the benefit of the country as a whole.
All right, so as you say, as South Africa, we have the resources. We've got certain projects already in the pipeline. What's the best possible outcome that could come out of this Green Hydrogen Summit that is kickstarting tomorrow? I mean, you've rather invited all these high rollers, different delegates from all over the world to come and see what South Africa can offer. What's the best outcome from this two-day summit?
So maybe the starting point is, what are we trying to achieve? So we are competing in this sort of nascent sector with other regions of the world. We are competing with Chile, Australia, the Middle East. I think on the continent, we're fortunate that we have a differentiated offering. We can produce more value-added industrial products than many other countries. But the importance then is that for South Africa, if we can get this right, the potential could be something like 1.4 million jobs being added by 2050. It would require a cumulative total investment of $250 billion by 2050, and could contribute up to $20 to $30 billion a year to our GDP. So those are astronomical numbers, in some cases scary numbers, but most of this is going to be driven by private sector investment, and importantly then we have to market ourselves to the rest of the world and tell the South Africa story. And that's really what the next 3 days is about. Inviting the world with delegates from Japan, South Korea, large parts of Europe, the UK, many contributions from partner countries on the continent coming to sort of see what South Africa can offer and how we're positioning ourselves to help projects within that space succeed. But also importantly, I don't think we've told the story sufficiently to the public in South Africa and to businesses here about what the opportunities mean for them. And it's both an external and internal sort of sales and marketing opportunity.
Indeed. Well, Masopha, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us on our program this morning. Indeed, all eyes will be on those efforts as we continue to embark on this just energy transition. That was Masopha Moshoeshoe, who is a green economy specialist in the Office of the Presidency.